The room laughed. I didn't. Because right after the champagne toast, my father-in-law leaned into the mic and said, "Now that you're family, I can finally tell you the truth about her. Weddings are supposed to be the happiest day of your life, right?" I'd memorized that line, recited it in my head every morning for the last 3 months, told myself that no matter how crazy the planning got or how much Rachel's mom stressed about tablecloth colors or how much her sister hated the floral arrangements, we were still heading towards something sacred, something beautiful. So when the string quartet finished their final song and Rachel's dad stood up for the toast, I was all smiles. He raised his glass, the crowd went quiet, and I braced myself for the usual father of the bride speech. Something sappy. Maybe a joke about Rachel being a handful. I wasn't ready for what he actually said. "To the man who's about to be my son-in-law," Frank began, his voice warm and slightly slurred. "You've got guts, kid. And a strong stomach, because marrying into this family? That's not a small commitment." The room chuckled. I smiled politely. "But seriously," he went on, "you're one of the good ones. You love her. She loves you. That's what matters." Applause. Glasses clinked. Rachel reached over and squeezed my hand under the table. Everything felt right. And then Frank cleared his throat and added, "But now that you're family, I can finally tell you the truth about her." The laughter that followed was automatic. Nervous. No one took him seriously. Except me. Because he wasn't smiling when he said it. He just looked at me. Dead in the eye. Rachel giggled beside me, waving it off. "Dad, seriously, don't start." But I wasn't laughing. Because something about the way Frank said it, calm, too calm, felt like a warning. He took a sip of champagne and stepped down from the mic. Everyone moved on. Conversations resumed. Rachel kissed my cheek and whispered, "Ignore him. He's just had too much wine." But I couldn't ignore it. Not the way he looked at me. Like he'd been dying to say something. Like I should know what he meant. Later that night, after the dancing and the sparkler send-off, I pulled Frank aside near the valet station. "Hey," I said, trying to keep it light. "That toast, what was that last line about?" He gave me a look. Sobering. Sober. "You sure you want to know?" I nodded. Frank sighed, glanced over his shoulder, and said, "Come by the house tomorrow. I'll show you." Not tell? Show. Rachel called my name from across the parking lot, barefoot and laughing, still in her gown. The photographer was begging for one last candid. I turned to wave, smiled like nothing was wrong. But inside, I felt like I just swallowed a stone. Because something was wrong. And I had a feeling this marriage was going to start with more than just a honeymoon. It was going to start with a secret. Frank's house looked different in daylight. Less warm. More sterile. Like a stage set someone forgot to take down after the performance. He met me at the door, already dressed, khakis, button-up, no trace of the looseness from the night before. Whatever was about to happen, he was clear-eyed for it. "Come in," he said. No smile. No small talk. I stepped inside, half expecting Rachel to jump out and yell surprise, like this was all some elaborate prank. But the silence told me otherwise. Frank led me down the hallway into his office. He didn't sit. Just walked straight to the file cabinet in the corner, unlocked it, and pulled out a manila envelope thick enough to make my throat dry. "She doesn't know I kept this," he said, setting it down on the desk. "And I didn't plan to show anyone. But last night, I figured if you're going to build a life with her, you deserve to know who she used to be." Used to be? I opened the envelope. The first thing I saw was a photo. A school ID, maybe, but not from anywhere I recognized. The girl in it looked like Rachel, but also not. Same face, but different hair. Darker, edgier, pierced nose, cold eyes. Name, Jenna M. Carver. I blinked. "Who is this?" Frank didn't flinch. "That's Rachel. Before she changed her name. Before the adoption." "Adoption?" I echoed. "You told me you were her biological father." I said I raised her. And I did. But she wasn't born into this name. Rachel Morgan didn't exist until she was 15. I stared down at the ID again. The date of birth was off by 2 years. She lied about her age? No. She just edited her past. That's when Frank handed me another document. A printout. A police report. Arrested. Age 14. Theft. Trespassing. Person of interest in a missing persons case. I dropped the paper like it burned. "She was never charged," Frank said quickly. "They didn't have enough evidence, but it was enough to scare her mother straight." Her mother. Her birth mother. I knew her back then. She was spiraling. Drugs, bad men, worse choices. She dumped Jenna on my doorstep one night, bleeding and shaking, and begged me to do better with her than she had. My head was spinning. "So you adopted her? Took her in? Made it official a year later? Changed everything? Name, school records, medical files? She got a clean slate. We all did." I sank into the nearest chair. The girl I married didn't exist before age 15. Everything before that? A blank slate. A lie. And yet she had never told me. I don't understand, I said. Why wouldn't she say anything? Frank finally sat down. Because she thinks if you knew who she was, you wouldn't love who she is. I couldn't answer, because I didn't know if he was right. That night, back home, Rachel was waiting for me in the kitchen. Hey, she said, smiling. You disappeared this morning. Everything okay? I stared at her. The woman I loved. The stranger in front of me. I had coffee with your dad, I said. Her face faltered for just a second. Oh, said he had something to show me. She froze. Her hand lingered on the edge of the counter. What did he show you? Who you used to be? Silence. Then, softly, so now you know. Not, I can explain. Not, please don't freak out. Just, now you know. I waited, but she didn't say anything else. I saw the report, I said. The name. Jenna. She flinched. That name's not me. But it was. Rachel stared at the floor. Then she whispered, there's more. And I was going to tell you. I just needed you to love me first. I didn't know what to say to that, because I did love her. But now I didn't even know her real name. And that wasn't the worst part, because what she told me next was only the beginning. We sat across from each other on the couch, the air between us thick and unmoving. Rachel's, no, Jenna's hands trembled as she reached for her glass of water, but she didn't drink. Just held it, like she needed the weight of something to ground her. There's something else, she said finally. Something I've never told anyone. Not even Frank. I nodded slowly. Go on. She exhaled. The missing person in that report? I knew him. His name was Aaron. The name didn't ring a bell. He was older, she continued. 19. I was 14. He worked at the convenience store near our apartment. Gave me rides sometimes. Bought me food. Talked to me like I mattered. I could already hear the edges of the story unraveling. He wasn't a predator, she said quickly, reading my expression. He wasn't like that. He was kind. Too kind. I didn't say anything. I just listened. One night, I came home with bruises my mom's latest boyfriend had shoved me into a wall. Aaron saw, and he lost it. Said I couldn't go back there, that I should come stay with him. Rachel looked up at me, eyes glistening. So I did. I stayed at his place for 2 nights. On the third, he said he had a plan that we could run away. Start over somewhere new. He was gonna sell his car, take a bus to Arizona. He asked me to come with him. Did you? No, she shook her head. I got scared. I told him I couldn't do it. I went back to my mom's. The next day, he was gone. Gone. I felt my chest tighten. They found his car abandoned 3 states over, she said. But not him. No body. No note. Just vanished. My voice came out rough. And the cops? They questioned me. Hard. I was the last person he talked to. But I didn't know anything. I didn't do anything. I swear to God I didn't. She wasn't crying. She was holding everything in, like the fear had hardened over the years into something sharp and fragile. And you think people blamed you? She nodded. In that neighborhood? A runaway girl with a record? I was the villain before they even asked. I rubbed my temples. But why not tell me any of this before? Before the wedding. Before we made vows. Because I wanted a fresh start, she said. A real one. Not just for me, but for us. I stood up, pacing, trying to process. You could have told me. You should have told me. Before I fell in love with someone who doesn't exist on paper. Rachel, Jenna, stood too. I'm still me. Everything we've lived through, everything we've built, it's real. I stared at her. I believed her. But I also felt like I was standing at the edge of a cliff with no railing. And then she said something that made the floor fall out from under me. I got a message last year, she whispered. An anonymous email. Just one line, you should have gone with him. I froze. What? It came from a throwaway account. No reply address. No trace. You think it was Aaron? She looked up at me, terrified. Or someone who knows what happened to him. Everything inside me went still. And that's not all, she added. There's one more thing. I think I know who sent it. I stared at her, pulse in my ears. Who? She swallowed, and said a name I never expected to hear. My maid of honor. Becca. Becca. I never fully trusted her. Not even in the beginning. There was always something too rehearsed about her warmth, too exact in the way she performed loyalty like it was a scripted role. Rachel called her ride or die. Said she'd taken a punch for her in college once, literally. But I always suspected Becca didn't protect Rachel because she loved her. She did it because she needed to own her. And now, sitting in the living room as Rachel told me who might have sent that ominous email, you should have gone with him, it was all falling into place. Rachel looked pale. Like her own secrets were coming back to strangle her. I didn't want to believe it, she said, pulling her knees to her chest on the couch. But Becca knew about Aaron. She's the only one who did. I leaned in. Who was he, Rachel? Really? Her voice shook. He worked at a gas station near our apartment when I was 14. I used to hang around there to avoid home. He noticed, started offering me snacks, rides, a place to just be. He wasn't creepy. Not like that. He was the first adult who treated me like a person. She swallowed. When my mom's boyfriend got violent, Aaron let me stay over. 2 nights. On the second night, he said he was leaving for Arizona. His cousin had a job lined up. He asked me to come. I already knew the next line. You didn't go. Rachel nodded. I panicked. I went back to my mom. And the next day, he was gone. Car found 2 states away. No note. No trace. What did the police say? Nothing helpful. I was questioned. They kept dancing around the idea that maybe I'd done something. But they never charged me. Just let the whispering do the work. I rubbed my temples. And Becca? Rachel hesitated. We weren't close then, but we had overlapping friends. I told her once offhand about Aaron. She went cold. Said some people don't stay missing forever. I thought she was just being weird. I pulled out my phone and opened Instagram. Scrolled. Dug. Finally found a grainy photo from years ago. Becca, in high school, red Solo cup in hand, grinning with her arm around a tall, broad-shouldered guy who had his head turned. The tag at Aaron_went_dark. The account was long deleted. I showed Rachel. She gasped. That's him. That's Aaron. I felt my pulse spike. Becca knew him. Maybe more than you ever did. Rachel blinked, stunned. You think she was in love with him? If she was, I said, and she thought you got him killed. Rachel finished the sentence. Then that email wasn't just about guilt. It was punishment. I searched deeper. Found a local news post from 2010. Teen missing after dispute with girlfriend. No names, but the details matched. 19, last seen driving east on Route 42. A blurred photo. Him. In the comments? A user, Rebecca M. He was too good for her. I warned him. She ruins everything she touches. My hands clenched around the phone. The next morning, I told Rachel. Her face went slack. We have to confront her. No, I said. We bait her. Invite her over. Make it friendly. But we steer the conversation. See what slips. Rachel was nervous. That feels dangerous. Only if she's hiding something. That night, Becca arrived carrying a bottle of red and a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Newlyweds. Look at you two, all domestic and glowy. We laughed, toasted, played our parts. And then, just as she reached for her second glass, I said, Hey Becca, you remember Aaron? Her hand froze. She turned, all pretense gone. Aaron who? You know who? The guy who vanished. Rachel was silent, watching. Becca set down her glass. Her voice dropped. Why are we talking about him now? Because someone sent Rachel a message last year. About him. Said she should have gone with him. Becca didn't blink. Maybe she should have. Rachel flinched. What do you mean? Becca stared at her with something between rage and heartbreak. I told him not to trust you. But he didn't listen. My throat went dry. You knew. You always knew. Becca stood. Slowly. You think you get to move on? Start fresh? Dress up your past and call it a wedding? You don't get clean that easy, Rachel. Rachel looked like she might collapse. Becca grabbed her purse. Enjoy your fairy tale. Just remember, some of us never got the ending we wanted. Then she walked out. And we were left in silence. The next morning, Rachel was quieter than I'd ever seen her. She moved around the kitchen like her limbs were made of wet paper. Poured coffee. Forgot to drink it. I watched her crumble, piece by piece, as the weight of Becca's words settled on her shoulders. She knew, Rachel whispered finally, sitting at the counter. She's known all along. I didn't ask who she meant. We both knew. Becca. The woman who stood in our house last night and dropped a truth bomb like it was casual dinner conversation. The one who told Rachel she should have gone with Aaron and said it with a smile. Rachel suddenly stood. I need to find that old yearbook. It took us an hour in the basement to unearth the dusty box labeled Rachel High School. We hadn't opened it since we moved in. Inside, beneath a stack of CDs and an old prom corsage, we found it. Lakeview High School Yearbook 2010. Maroon cover, gold trim, faded spine. Rachel flipped through it fast, pages whispering like secrets. She stopped at the drama club photo. Her fingers trembled. There, she said. Aaron. Sitting front row. Bright eyes, crooked smile. The kind of face that sticks with you. Becca was 2 seats down, her hand casually resting on his shoulder. Her whole body leaned in his direction like a plant tilting towards sunlight. Under each photo was a quote. Aaron's read. You can escape anywhere as long as you believe hard enough. Beneath his, Becca's quote. Some stories aren't meant to have a happy ending. We stared at it. Rachel whispered she was always talking about stories, metaphors. I thought it was just Becca being theatrical. But this is personal. Rachel turned the page, and that's when we found it. In the margins of the inside back cover, hidden among silly notes and year-end signatures, was a message written in tight, cramped print. He was right. You should have gone with him. B. Rachel dropped the book like it stung. She wrote that, she whispered. Back then, before I even realized she hated me, I picked the book up, my hands ice cold. She never moved on. This isn't recent. It's been festering for over a decade. Rachel sank onto the floor, knees pulled to her chest. I thought she forgave me, that we moved past it. But she never did. That afternoon I got a call. Unknown number. Normally I wouldn't answer. I did. 3 seconds of audio. My own voice. Who was he, Rachel? Really? Then silence. Then a click. No caller ID. No trace. Just a voice memo that someone recorded without us knowing. A private moment played back like a threat. I looked at Rachel. She was already on her feet, grabbing her phone. I'm calling the police. But I stopped her. Wait. She froze. Why? Because if Becca wants to play games, maybe it's time we play one back. We thought the email was the worst of it. We thought the confrontation ended the story. But Becca wasn't just watching. She was collecting, recording, waiting. And now the past wasn't knocking anymore, it was breaking in. We didn't call the police. Not yet. Instead, we made a plan. One Becca wouldn't see coming. Rachel texted her that evening. You were right. Can we talk? Becca responded within minutes. Of course. Come over. I'll make tea. We drove in silence. Rachel's fingers clenched the door handle the entire time. I could see her reflection in the passenger window, jaw tight, eyes flicking with fear and fury. When we pulled up to Becca's apartment, I killed the engine and looked at her. You don't have to do this, I said. She nodded. I do. We stepped inside and were greeted by warmth, a scented candle burning, something sweet and harmless. Becca looked exactly like the woman Rachel had once trusted with everything. Barefoot. Casual. Wearing a sweatshirt from their college days. The deception was flawless. I'm glad you came, she said to Rachel, motioning for us to sit. We didn't. Rachel stood near the bookshelf, eyes scanning the walls, the pictures. I want to know the truth, she said flatly. No more riddles. No more cryptic notes. Just tell me what happened to Aaron. Becca looked startled, but not surprised. Why now, she asked. Rachel's voice cracked. Because I'm tired of being haunted by someone else's grief. Becca's face changed. Slowly, something settled in her eyes. Not anger. Satisfaction. I didn't kill him, she said, walking to the kitchen like it was nothing. If that's what you think, then what did you do? I asked. She poured tea into 3 mugs but only brought 2. I told him you wouldn't come, she said. I told him you were using him to escape, that you'd never actually leave. That he should go without you. Rachel's breath caught. You told him that? Becca nodded. And he listened. He was devastated. Thought you betrayed him. Left that night. Never said goodbye. And when he didn't come back, I blamed you. My fists clenched. Rachel whispered, all these years, you hated me for something you caused. Becca didn't flinch. He loved you. And I loved him. But you were always the one people chose. And the messages? The recording. Becca smiled. I wanted you to feel it. What I felt. To live in fear. In doubt. I stepped forward. You've broken so many laws. I haven't touched either of you, she said, calm as glass. No threats. Just words. Memories. Rachel stepped back like she'd been slapped. You ruined our wedding. You tried to destroy our marriage. Becca's face didn't change. And yet here you are. Together. Stronger, even. Funny how that works. We left. We didn't call the police. There was nothing concrete. Nothing actionable. Just poison that seeped out over time. But I changed our locks that night. We installed cameras. Alerted our neighbors. Rachel changed her number. And for weeks, we lived like we were being watched, because maybe we still were. Then one morning, we found a package on our doorstep. No return address. Inside, a single envelope. A photo. Aaron. Standing in front of a convenience store. Date stamped 2 years after he disappeared. On the back, scrawled in rushed handwriting. I made it. I'm okay. Don't look for me. No signature. Just that. Rachel sank to the floor. He's alive. Tears welled in her eyes. Not grief. Not guilt. Just release. We never found out who sent it. Was it Becca? Someone else? Aaron himself? It didn't matter. Because for the first time in over a decade, Rachel could breathe. And as for Becca? She moved a month later. No warning. No goodbye. Just gone. Like she'd never existed. We got a postcard from Phoenix 6 months after that. No message. Just a return name. James Carver. The name Rachel was born with. We never spoke of it again. But sometimes I still wake up to find Rachel standing by the window looking out at nothing. And I wonder if she's thinking about Becca. Or Aaron. Or whether some stories are never really over. because the truth doesn't always set you free. Sometimes it just gives you a place to start running.